The Libertarian Progress Report.
Part 1. The Big Picture.
Problems, solutions, aims, objectives, strategies, progress and perspectives.
Now with text-to-speech and enumeration in Espanol. The United States of America consists of 2.3 billion acres, 324 million people, most of which are dumber than fuck, a $20 trillion federal debt, 100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, about 50 billion land and sea animals killed for food and other purposes every year, and 150 million anti-Americans, half of which are illegal aliens and the other half have been illegally attacking America and getting away with it, which will soon cause the final destruction of America, which is unfortunately their sick retarded dream. The land surface of the Earth is about 57 billion acres, versus the USA's 2.3 billion. The Earth also receives about 1/2 billionth of the Sun's solar output, which amounts to approximately 175,000 terawatts. By comparison, the global economy runs on about 15 to 20 terawatts. Approximately 1 million planet Earths could fit into the Sun, which produces life-sustaining energy from fusion at its core. Because the force of the mass of the Sun is so heavy, it forces atoms together, which causes fusion of hydrogen atoms into helium, and the excess blows off as escaping photons. The Sun orbits the center of the Milky Way, which is a massive black hole along with a couple 100 billion other stars. The Milky Way is suspended in space in a cluster known as the local group, which is estimated to be approximately 50 galaxies spread out over a 10 million light-year area, or approximately 50 million trillion miles in diameter, which might produce a cubic acreage of somewhere around 50,000 decillion. The local group of 50 galaxies, one of which is the Milky Way, is about 10 million light-years across, which sits inside a supercluster of approximately 100,000 galaxies called the Laniakea supercluster, which is estimated to be 500 million light-years across, which is colored in yellow-orange at the center of the picture of galactic clusters, of which the guess is that there are approximately 10 million making up the observable universe. All of this has theoretically transpired over 13.7 billion years according to recent projections, which may be part of an oscillating pulse of expansions and contractions, and at a distance might look like a flickering light pulsating and evolving over endless cycles of quadrillions and vegintillions of years. Or it could be a one-time event. The point to this is that this is a big picture according to modern science, articulated in Big Bang theories. Most people, let alone scientists, have no big picture. They're just living day to day, paycheck to paycheck, until Hillary can come back and save them because they're morons. Most people in political or vegan discussions, for example, have no big picture that they're working with. It's all just repeated self-serving talking points in social echo chambers, whether it's business, science, art, or whatever. Now let's look at the top 10 problems and their solutions. Numero uno. The immigration of anti-Americans nightmare. The main problem with the USA is that despite its libertarian, groundbreaking history and participation in most of the technological inventions in the modern era, is that it's plagued with a quantity over quality population immigration nightmare. What that means is that the USA was founded by high-minded geniuses. Certainly they didn't know everything, and we have evolved in many areas since then. But what has happened is an open borders, unfiltered immigration nightmare. The solution is simple, which would be mass deportation of people guilty of un-American activities, which would be about 150 million, combined with effective border control and enforcement. Let's go back over the developing illegal immigration nightmare and discuss the solutions.
Now what happened?
The first problem was the Negro slaves, whose descendants became big-time Obama zombies, as in over 90% of the Negroes voted for Obama, who left behind another $10 trillion in federal debt and a destroyed economy. That's a lot of punishment and misery that these clowns have levied. How insane! And the solution there was to send them back to where they came from in Africa, once freed, which was Lincoln's plan. Unfortunately, he was assassinated, and henceforth America has had to deal with millions of Obama zombies, who don't qualify to be Americans. That's not all Negroes. Some would pass the citizenship tests, so we should simply repatriate 90% of them. Next, we had the waves and waves of cheap immigrant labor in the late 18 and early 1900s, when America was booming with massive industrial projects like railroads across America, and all kinds of factories and land development. Most of those folks were not of American standards, and consequently they were the supporters of nightmares like the Fed, the IRS, and so on. And so by the early 1900s America became more socialist. Women have a lot to offer to the political process. However, the problem is that most of them do not have a very worldly grasp of issues that pertain to politics, and consequently are easy prey for typical liberal scams that work on people with shallow understandings of economics and libertarian issues, who are also easily manipulated and triggered. The solution across the board, including women and men as well, is basic voting tests to qualify as to whether the voters are even familiar with the issues and the principles involved. Most aren't, and most have no business voting. Then you've got the insane illegal alien invasions, 100% of which should be deported immediately, fined, and imprisoned on suspicion that they will return, as many have after deportation. Add all that up and you have 150 million that could be deported on the grounds of either being illegal alien criminals or slaves who should have been repatriated, or scumbags guilty of un-American activities, of which there are easily 25 million. This channel is not anti-women. It encourages women to learn, become involved, and qualify as Americans because they all potentially have something to contribute, theoretically. By deporting 150 million un-Americans, we would be 25 million under the USA biocapacity of 200 million, which would mean we could then have the freedom to let real American aspirants immigrate. This would bring the USA population back down to pre-1960s levels, which would be far healthier for the environment, people, animals, and our national and local economies. Numero dos. Out of control government.
Now, we had to memorize the preamble of that. I still remember it.
You do?
Yeah. Here, I'll show you. Hold the book on me.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Constitution of the United States. Just give me the first word and then I'll know the rest.
Okay, we.
We.
We?
Are you sure?
You looking right at it?
Oh, we. We.
The.
We the. We the.
People.
People. We the people. We the people.
You want to run through that again, or do you think you got it?
I got it.
Good.
You learn something, you learn it.
So what happened was, America was founded as a libertarian country as articulated in documents such as the Constitution, Bill of Rights, etc. B. Libertarian concepts were modernized in Western Europe, which borrowed some of these ideas from other contributing civilizations, as previous Genius videos have pointed out over the years, such as ancient China, yogis from India, and much has been taken right out of the Old and New Testaments as another example. See. Unfortunately, the originally very high-minded founders have been replaced with random bullcrap coming from other countries and cultures who have zero grasp of these concepts. Slowly but surely, over 100 years or so, immigrants moved in with other ideas and began exploiting holes and weaknesses in the governments, and what you have is governments doing things never intended by the very libertarian founders, and so you just have pretty much nothing but the inflation of idiocy by invaders. What these graphs show is that government spending and control was inflated tenfold to suit the invading immigrants, to the disappointment of those supporting the original founding libertarian concepts that the USA was based upon. The pie charts show that originally the federal budget was just defense and 14% on miscellaneous, and the rest to pay off the debt from the Revolutionary War. Since then, schemes and scams were produced to turn the USA into a debt-ridden socialist nightmare. All of those sectors should be eliminated or radically minimized. The preamble to the Constitution says provide for the common defense and promote the welfare, not provide the welfare, as socialist non-voluntarist schemes have attempted throughout history and failed at miserably, and was one of the main reasons for founding America. This is hideous, and mass deportation and limitation of the government invasions is the only solid answer. Furthermore, the defense services have been miserable failures because they did not stop the invasions. So you have massive bloated bullcrap based on stolen tax money doing horrible jobs, where instead of stopping invaders, they would take stolen tax money to give them welfare as well. This is insane. All while the invaders and destroyers of the country scream and whine to get their ways, which worked for a while. It's been over 100 years now, continuing to get worse as things slip down the slippery slope of mindless socialism. To recap problems 1 and 2 of 10. Out of control immigration has endangered the environment of the USA due to overpopulation, destabilized its economies, and fueled an out of control expansion of state, federal and local governments, which have violated the original intentions of America as a libertarian country as articulated in documents such as the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, etc. This channel is all about libertarian philosophy, environmental protection, and healthy living, all of which are under siege due to the crazy immigrant invasions and expansions of socialist government activities. The solutions recommended are to refocus on limiting and minimizing governments to the original functions that they were supposed to perform, which were to provide for the common defense and promote the general welfare of the public and the blessings of liberty. Unfortunately, the country has been hijacked. By simply retracing the developing problems, you can see that Lincoln was on the right path before his assassination, which was to free the slaves and repatriate them back to their homeland or elsewhere, and screen those who wanted to stay as immigrants pursuing citizenship to a libertarian country. Same thing with the masses who immigrated into the USA in the late 1800s and early 1900s. They should have been properly vetted. Same thing with women voting, who had never voted before beyond what's for dinner or what other chores and duties went on in the household. Or the Latino invaders who have been destabilizing the US economy and murdering 10,000 Americans or more per year. In other words, to keep us as a libertarian evolving country that protects its environments, which includes its people, it has left some open holes that now all kinds of crazies have been pouring through. At least Trump is trying to deal with these issues. And serious people should simply try to help him, with perhaps any better solutions than he may have come up with to help make America great again.